Hey Internet, this is Chaz.
This is Dan. Welcome to Wine and Serious Business, episode 163. We're back on the search for the Great American Riesling, number 14 of that series. We've got two wines from Washington, and two wines from Oregon and one from Washington. All producers we've tasted on the show before, and all wines that I'm interested in checking out. Chaz picked out these two, and I tried this one at a tasting over Thanksgiving, and wanted to bring it around to show on the show. So
Awesome.
Had you tasted either of these before?
I have not.
Okay.
So they're all 2011 wines, which
Yep.
we should point out. So I have tasted the Eroica before, but never the Trisaetum Estates Reserve. So, and then for this one, I have tasted the previous vintage. I think it was 2009 was the last time I tasted the Squalor.
Yep.
But this is the 2011 bottling. Sorry, I think I poured it a little heavier, but
It's fine. It's Riesling.
it's Riesling.
It's
So
Friday. It's good.
it's true. So
Matt Burson's the winemaker. Awesome guy. He was the assistant at Brooks for a while, and yeah, it makes this the Love and Squalor label. Pinot Noir and Riesling is what he kind of focuses on there. Pretty solid stuff. Tries to keep reasonable price points on all of it too, which I always like to see.
yeah, $18, and it says on the back label here they got that nice scale for Riesling, right at the lower end of medium dry. So, all right, let's try it out.
Bunch of fruit flavors really jump out of the glass on this. It's really friendly. Like some green apples, some red apples, and a little bit of like pineapple too, like something a little sweeter. Green apple character is really coming out when I was in.
It's been a few days since I've had wine. My palate's not working right now. Excuse me. So you go ahead, Brett.
No, that's all right. It's not that far. We're still not that far removed from New Year's Eve, so.
New Year's Eve was rough for me. How was it for you guys?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, let us know. Good story. It wasn't
bad
It
hangover.
wasn't so bad for me. I was actually pretty reasonable the whole time.
The apple aromas on the nose are really nice, and sort of what's getting me. There's a little bit of the acidity coming through, which I
Yep.
really tend to like, and sort of adds like a minerally component to the nose. It smells really nice. So.
I use the green apple descriptor a lot, but this is one of the most exemplary cases of that coming through. Like this tastes like a really good green apple. You just bite into it. It's got just that little bit of sweetness, tart acidity all over the place, a little bit of complexity. My mouth's watering, right? Like
Big time.
just so much acidity, and that feeling of juiciness from like just a really good apple. There's like a nice sense of texture to it.
Yeah, I was going to say that the weight here, combined with the absolute amount of flavor there is. I mean, start talking about mid-palate length here is substantial because of the way that it sort of starts out like sweet and juicy, and then really tartans up like you just bit into a fresh Granny Smith apple into the finish. But that flavor and sensation lasts for a long time, right? Like it isn't just there and then it's gone. The finish on this is actually quite substantial. It's nice. Yeah.
And there's none of that, I'm not getting any of that bitterness you can get with the little more acidic wines like this. Definitely good play on the residual sugar here. I think much less of that at all, and this would be like really sharp.
Yeah. That's probably what rounds out the finish a little bit.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and like there's a little bit of a floral flavor going on too that I really like. So I like the more acidic wines. Like I was just saying, I think the RS balances out just right for me. Man, my mouth is watering like long after I'm done drinking the wine.
Yeah.
So it kind of keeps you reaching for another glass. I also think it would be really good with food.
This would be killer with food based
Yeah.
on the amount of acidity. It's a little on the high end for me. I'll definitely say like the amount of acidity, especially on the second and third mouthfuls, it really wraps the mouth up. I mean, there is a ton of it, but it's done really well. I mean, it's only like fruit. There's no harshness, no sharpness, and like Dan said with the RS, it just barely it keeps it from getting sharp and enjoyable. And at $18, it's a pretty good,
Great buy.
pretty great Riesling, honestly. And yeah, the amount of acidity will go great with some food. So
Yeah, 89 plus for me. Right on the edge of more, but rock solid. And again, at the price point, worth trying. A good example of Oregon Riesling, I think. And now that I'm tasting it for a second time, I'm really comfortable saying this. My favorite vintage of this Riesling from him.
Awesome.
Yeah, really like it.
I go 88 points for me. The flavors here are fantastic. The acidity levels are right at the upper, like I said, the upper level for what I like. But the way it's done is done so well, and pretty straightforward, easy to understand. Besides that, so 88 points for me. Delicious.
Yeah, really solid.
Totally worth checking out at the price point. It's good stuff. Really good stuff. All right, so this one's the 2011 Chateau Ste Michelle and Dr. Lucen.
Dr. Lucen.
Oh boy, I've been out of the game for too long. Yeah. 3 days out of the wine.
Collaboration, right, between Dr. Lucen from Germany, you know, one of the big Mosel producers, and Chateau Ste Michelle, you know, huge, very well known, high value, you know, American producer. This is all with Washington fruit. Half of it's from the Evergreen Vineyard.
Yep.
Chaz was looking that up earlier, and we've tasted wine from the Evergreen Vineyard, Riesling from the Evergreen Vineyard before. You know, decent stuff. I don't have any big memories of how it was.
No. Just remember that we've had stuff in that vineyard in particular before. So.
But the upside, I guess, for those of you watching the show, you know, not in the Pacific Northwest, is this stuff is distributed really well. Both of these two, I think you'll have a hard time finding too far from here.
242 cases on 11 Squalor. That's a good amount of cases.
Yeah,
right?
it's working its way up.
Yeah. So, but yeah, the Trisaetum one's gonna be a little harder to find. But yeah, this is pretty much everywhere.
Yeah,
right. It is. This is getting more into the melons and a little bit of tropical fruit flavors, right? Like the cantaloupe thing's just jumping right out at me immediately.
I like that a lot better. I was thinking red apple at first, but it's more like just a little bit of red apple skin. The cantaloupe's all over the place. A little bit of like minerality here too, like definitely like a rocky stream or something like that.
Oh yeah, totally. It's like a saline quality to it. That smells good. Yeah.
Really straightforward. The fruit's just like really even and gentle on the palate right away. As it kind of fades off, I'm getting like these very ripe, not quite overripe, but like totally, you know, just fully ripe red apples kind of lingering on the palate and lingering kind of gently.
I would agree with that. Some of the melon characteristics are coming through for me as well. A little bit of pineapple going on as well in the mid palate, but maybe a disservice to tasting this after the 11 Squalor. The acidity levels are more ramped down here.
Definitely.
But the expression on the mid palate is nowhere near as long. Like the flavors are there for, you know, while it's in your mouth and you swallow it, you get a little bit of that left over, but the length, the finish length is pretty short. Doesn't really, yeah. But besides that, it's delicious.
Yeah, like the balance is definitely there. It's very clean. I know for a fact there are people for whom, you know, this would be much too acidic, right? And this is a great counterpoint to that, where it's a lot more gentle. And with the riper apples, the melon flavors, and while it is pretty straightforward, it's still, you know, it's still clean, easy drinking, approachable.
I 100% agree with what Dan just said. I think this is a more balanced effort as far as the acidity levels. The fruit's allowed to be expressed a little more, right? Yeah, so someone that likes acidity levels a little lower is going to probably enjoy this more. That said, for me, I find 11 Squalor more interesting as far as flavor-wise, and you know, just based on the amount of length and the intensity of the flavor, this one's not doing it for me as much. So.
Yeah, I'm right with you on that. And certainly, you know, as we talked about many times, I prefer a little more acidity. But something kind of that I have a hard time even expressing, like there is, you know, something just a little more interesting. I think the fruit has a little more depth here as well, that just kind of grabs my attention. Like you were saying, you know, that's easy drinking, clean.
I think when you said clean is where it nailed it, right? It's clean wine. It's an easy wine. Like, they were safe in making this. Like maybe there's a little more risk involved or something, but there's just more depth and there's more interesting things going on in 11 Squalor.
Yeah, so that
personally,
that makes it 86 for me. I think is where I'm going to put it. Solid, but I prefer other things.
Yes, I was going to say 86 points as well. Still considered a very good wine, right?
Yeah.
I didn't in that category. I think it's delicious. I think it's very easy drinking. But just like I said, it seems just reserved, a little reserved. The finish is definitely on the short side, and the acidity levels are toned down. But yeah, it's an enjoyable bottle of wine. Wouldn't hesitate, like if you traveled somewhere, go somewhere, and you're obviously going to see this on the store shelf
or glass pour list,
right?
Like it's definitely a wine you could see around. Definitely something that I would feel comfortable ordering because like I said, you know, it's safe, right? It's
yeah.
You know,
and it is delicious.
Yeah.
Completely honest. So, all right. So on to the last one we have is the Trisaetum Estates Reserve Riesling. So this one's going to be a little sweeter.
Back to order.
And a little more expensive too. The first two wines that we did, I think this is 18. This is like 19 to 21, depending on where you find it. The Trisaetum's 33 retail. So getting fancy here. So.
And this is all made with the state fruit. They're up. Yeah, they are Ribbon Ridge, right? Say that on the bottom.
I don't think so.
Man, well, they're on Ribbon Ridge Road, right? So I guess if the estate or if the fruit isn't all from that AVA, you can't find another. Even if it's not all from that AVA, like they're right in that area. For those of you familiar with Oregon wine country.
No, so it's coastal range vineyard 50%.
Oh, there we go.
And the Ribbon Ridge vineyard 50%.
All right.
And it's a combination of the most prized barrels. So
right.
barrel fermented.
Barrel select and blend.
Yeah.
So cool stuff. And Trisaetum's one of the producers that really puts a lot of effort into Riesling locally.
They have a lot of bottlings of it too. Like they do a lot of different single vineyards, a lot of different blends. Really exciting stuff coming from. We've tasted them on the show before.
And there's only a couple producers. You know, there aren't that many people that do Riesling to begin with, and there's even less that do more than one bottle of it. So it's really nice to see them, you know, spending estate vineyard space on Riesling and really breaking out those different bottlings to try and, you know, show off different expressions of my favorite grape. So
yeah, cheers.
Yeah.
So let's try this out.
This nose is a little more firm, I think. It's got some of those mineral qualities and like a little bit of green apple, but it's a little less ripe, I think. It's not really jumping out in your face. It's kind of got like a little austere character to it on the nose.
Are you getting a little bit of floral component to it, like a honeydew sort of thing?
You can see that.
Getting a little bit of that. But I agree that the flavor, the aromas here are reserved.
Yeah.
Dialed down from the first two where they were sort of powerful.
Maybe a hint of something like spicy too.
I was gonna say that as well. It's but I don't know how to even classify spicy. Like in
I was like kind of like maybe like a little like white pepper or something like that.
Maybe
just a touch of it, but yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Great texture. A little more sweetness here. Undoubtedly, some of it's coming from that. Totally, I have a sweet tooth. Wow. Cool evolution on the palate too. That's really fun to experience. Is that kind of runs across. Yeah,
that's really good.
Wow. So it starts out with these like really bright, kind of like pineapple flavors. Sweetness kind of hits you right away. It makes it really, really easy to engage with the wine, and the acidity slowly builds up on the back end. Really coming in firm on the mid palate, and by the time the finish is wrapping up again, like my mouth's watering like crazy. Like
another one where the mid palate length on this is pretty substantial, right? There's really, really nice flavors all the way throughout and into the finish. The thing that's really getting me excited about it is that in the finish, I'm getting the sweet and sour thing that I really like.
Yes.
In Honeycrisp apples, right? They can pull off the green, the sourness of like a fresh Granny Smith, but then with like the ripe juiciness of like a Fuji or Pink Lady or something. So there's a big sweet and sour thing going on in the finish on this that is killing it. It is delicious.
That transition is really cool. Yeah, and then to see both components linger long in the long after you swallow it. That's not something I experience all that often, and for it to have balance across all of those stages is really impressive.
The acidity levels here are strong, but well balanced with the intensity of the rest of the wine, right?
Yeah.
Like whereas this one, the 11 Squalor is a little powerful. Like you still levels ramp really high. There's enough intensity there, but it's not 100% balanced. The Trisaetum is very balanced, I would say. This is good.
Great purity to the fruit. Man, and the transitions are just so seamless. Like I'm really amazed that the wine is showing like this young. This is definitely something that I'd expect to like see after somebody's had a few more months to integrate or whatever. But this is already integrated. The transitions are great. The flavors are great. 90 plus for me. This is one of the best Rieslings from the United States I've ever tasted.
Wow.
In the top handful for sure. This is really solid stuff.
worth it at $33 a bottle?
I think so. If you're a big Riesling nerd, I think honestly, I think you really should try it because it's like I said, it's a good expression of like what's going on, of what's capable, what Oregon's capable of, and just really enjoyable flavors. I think if you're a Riesling fan, you'll really enjoy this wine. Yeah, thanks, Trisaetum folks, for making this. Like it's really great to see stuff like that coming out.
I'm happy to see Dan so excited about it because I'm sitting here in my mind thinking about it. Well, I mean, like how you score something like this. 92 points for me, 92 plus for me, and I would say the best American Riesling I've ever had. Because just the amount of complexity you get, the balance, and just how just absolutely delicious it is. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
There's not a single, it's absolutely wonderful. So, great job.
It's in a great place. Boy, and exciting to end the show this way, man. Like
I'm glad you're excited. Glad to pick something up you got pumped about. It's awesome.
Yeah, really got some reasons worth talking about today. So, back in the new year, we didn't talk about what the question of the day was going to be before we started.
I actually thought about
one. Sweet.
So I was out riding my motorcycle today and was really wishing that like summer was here already because I don't do a lot of things during winter. I quit snowboarding because I run all the time and didn't want to jack up my limbs. So anyway, what are you most waiting for summer for?
Okay, that's a pretty good one.
For me, it's motorcycling. I can't wait to get back to it. What about you?
Probably backpacking is like, hiking out in the woods is the big thing that I do in the summer that I can kind of do in the winter, but it's a lot more fun when it's dry out.
Yeah, it's nice and warm. Yeah. All right, well, we'll see you guys next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.